On this special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman from San Antonio, Texas.
On this week's special edition from San Antonio, we'll introduce you to NCBA's new president and hear what he expects for 2015. That and more highlights from this year's Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show.
And now, your host, Kevin Oxner from San Antonio, Texas.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us as we bring you special coverage from the 2015 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show in San Antonio. It was one of the biggest crowds ever as thousands of cattlemen and women from across the country came to Texas for a mix of business, education, and fun. We caught up with some attendees to ask why the annual convention is a must-see event that you don't want to miss.
If I wouldn't come here and go to Cattlemen's College, I'd almost feel like I'm out of touch in the industry. They put together such a great line of speakers, and if there's only one place I could go every year, it'd be to this convention.
It's really important for us to understand what issues are going on in Washington, for example, and then to see what leadership is telling us about that, and then we can figure out plans and policies that will direct them. I'm here as a Federation board member, and so I spend quite a bit of time with that and with working on beef promotion.
I think it's great to be here in San Antonio and really anywhere that the convention is. There's a lot of networking opportunities. It's great to meet people from across the industry, from across the country, and it's really great from a collegiate standpoint to really get those opportunities, maybe find potential like jobs, internships, stuff like that. I think it's also great to see what all is going on in the industry. You kind of really get the broad spectrum of what is happening in the cattle industry across the country by being here in San Antonio.
It's critically important to keep up with the issues that are facing us today in the industry. It's changing more rapidly perhaps than it ever has in the past. We're seeing a totally different kind of production cycle, and I think we need to come to the convention to stay on the cutting edge of the issues affecting our industry.
I think the educational opportunities provided by the National Cattlemen's Convention are excellent, and an opportunity to network with other producers from different regions, and compare notes, come home with some new ideas and hopefully put them into practice.
Well, I think the first thing is education. For us to attend the Cattlemen's College, I'm here with the ANCW, American National Cattlewomen, for us to meet with other ladies from across the country and to share our stories with each other and what works in one state and what works in another.
Oh, you see a lot of old friends, learn a lot of new information, new products, get familiar with those.
For one thing, it's a rejuvenating time because you meet with other producers in the business, and you get to share ideas, learn about new things, hear all of the policy that's going on within the industry, and just meet up with friends and have a good time.
There was certainly plenty to see and do here in San Antonio. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Russell Nemitz joins us now with a closer look. Russell?
Kevin, it was a record NCBA trade show here in San Antonio, Texas. Over 360 exhibitors covered nearly 7 acres of convention floor space here at the Convention Center. Basically, the latest and greatest in farm and ranch technology, and to put it simply, everything from cowboy boots to cattle chutes. And of course, thousands and thousands of cattlemen and cattlewomen from across America attended the Cattle Industry Convention, an NCBA trade show here in San Antonio, one of which my good friend Steve Brooks, all the way from Bowman, North Dakota. And Steve, why did you make the trek to San Antonio this year, and why is this national convention so important to you?
Well, I'm president of North Dakota Stockmen's Association right now, and so we've got a lot of committee meetings in the next couple days to go to, and then the fun part is this trade show, and I got a lot of stuff on my wish list, but it's some pretty neat stuff, and you learn a lot here, and you see a lot of people, and get out of the winter for a little bit.
As a rancher there from western North Dakota, Steve, what are some of the bigger pressing issues, whether it be in North Dakota or elsewhere in the United States, that cattlemen like yourself are watching these days?
Oh, right now is as far as North Dakota Stockman's, we're working on a checkoff increase in the state of North Dakota, and so we've been up at Bismarck at the legislature quite a bit the last couple of weeks, doing a little lobbying and talking with senators and representatives and getting started on that, and some of the other bills to do with property rights and some of those things. So I guess nationally, some of our bigger issues are the waters of the United States and what might happen to check off there nationally, and the Trans-Pacific Agreement, and then some of those different things.
So what's your message to those men and women in our nation's capital with that just said?
Well, we're just seeing the greatest times in the cattle business we've ever seen, and just went to CattleFax this morning, and they're telling us our imports are putting over $350 a head on every calf that goes to harvest. So it's a great time to be in the beef business.
Last question for you, friend. What about the message to U.S. consumers out there? Because I know guys like you take a lot of pride in raising the beef that feeds the rest of us.
Well, in the United States, we're really focused on quality and food safety, and we want the consumers to know that we take really good care of our animals. It's very important for us, or we don't make a profit. So I guess that's the biggest thing to tell them, that we do everything we can to make our animals comfortable and produce all they can for us.
Well, we appreciate you taking a little bit of time and joining us today on Cattleman to Cattleman.
You bet. Well, I enjoyed visiting you, Russell.
All right, that's going to do it for now. Steve Brooks from Bowman, North Dakota. With that, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Still ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Well, one thing I love about involvement in NCBA is that as I travel across the country and I speak and meet with and visit with cattle people, agricultural people, I'm always home.
You'll meet the new president of NCBA and hear his thoughts on the current state of the cattle industry. Plus, how one stocker operation in Florida is addressing animal health issues in a proactive manner. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman on RFD TV.
This is yours, and so is what grows there. Not theirs or theirs, yours. You need this to fight this and this to grow more this. Because the more of this you feed them, the less this you spend on that, which leaves more of this here. Don't let them take this from you. Chaparral takes care of weeds and brush, and that's that.
Once upon a time, before backpacks came with rollers and games were canceled due to rain, everyone drank their no-whip, black as a miner's day coffee out of cast iron pots. We didn't cook our meat with self-igniting charcoal. Companies didn't hire praise teams to make sure we got enough pats on the back. You had to earn them. Thankfully, there are still a few of us left who believe in hard work, determination, and guts. Guts, after all, is what brings us great things.
It's the official monthly publication of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. The National Cattleman is produced exclusively for NCBA members and includes coverage of the news and events affecting our industry. Every issue includes market analysis, feature stories, and practical management tips. Start receiving your copy of The National Cattleman. Call 866-USA-BEEF or go online to beefusa.org and join today.
Welcome back. Serving as the volunteer leader of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association is a big job. The man leading the way this year is Philip Ellis of Chugwater, Wyoming. Let's find out a little more about Philip and his family's operation.
Nestled in the Bear Creek Valley of southeastern Wyoming sits the Marsh and Ellis Ranch. Today, Philip Ellis heads the ranch, which is a family business that dates back to the late 1800s.
I'm a fifth-generation rancher. The sixth generation ranching is working into the ranch with me, and the seventh generation they're on the ground and running with grandsons and grandnephews. My family were in here very early. This area of southeast Wyoming in the 1870s, they discovered that the shortgrass prairie was a high-quality grass and that cattle could thrive here. My great-grandfather came here as a teenager from Iowa, and he came to one of the big operations that had just built a big house in this valley, and within a few years he was an open-range cowboy for that operation.
Chugwater, Wyoming is just 45 miles north of Cheyenne, and while the high-quality grasses are ideal for raising cattle, the harsh winter weather can be tough on the cattlemen and the livestock.
So by the 1889, my teenage great-grandfather and a teenage gal had married and established their own operation. And they got that opportunity because the blizzards of 86 and 87 took out the large cattle barons' herds. They didn't understand that there could be harsh winters here.
Through the years, the Marsh and Ellis Ranch has adapted to meet the changing needs of the beef industry. What was originally a registered Hereford operation has evolved into a commercial Red Angus Hereford outfit. The crossbreds thrive in the harsh conditions and still produce high-quality beef.
About 30 years ago, when I came back and worked in and took over the operation, we changed and started crossbreeding with Red Angus. I think the Hereford's hardiness was famous in this area, for our winters can be harsh and the wind can be harsh. The Red Angus for the growth factor and the meat quality, cutability added into the Hereford makes a real good cross for this area. We've been really happy with those cattle. Our operation today is a commercial cow yearling operation. We calve cows and then we carry the calves over another season.
Growing up, Philip's family taught him the importance of being a member of state and national livestock associations, a lesson that primed his desire to serve the beef industry.
There are records going back to the 1940s of membership in the associations that have become the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. We've always felt it's just very important because we're out here doing our work, but we realize that government, both state and national, that we need to join together with other ranchers to have a voice.
Philip began volunteering in the cattle industry more than 30 years ago with the Laramie County Stock Growers Association. This local beginning launched a career of industry service, and since then he's held a variety of roles at both the state and national levels. He was president of the Wyoming Stock Growers Association and NCBA's Region 5 vice president. A notable leader, no doubt, Philip says his love for the cattle industry drives him to continue volunteering for the greater good.
And following my family's example, I got involved at the state level. And so it is important for me to be there and to lend my voice and things I can do to help the beef industry. When you enjoy and are passionate about the industry, they say you'll never work a day in your life. And I think this is an industry one can be passionate about. And one thing I love about involvement in NCBA is that as I travel across the country and I speak and meet with and visit with cattle people, agricultural people, I'm always home. When I'm with beef cattle people, I'm always home.
As he travels the country, Philip finds taxes are a concern for farmers and ranchers. Tax burdens can cripple cattle operations in the present, but also for years to come. Philip knows the value of planning for generational transfer on his own ranch, and one of his goals as NCBA president is to establish long-term tax solutions for cattle producers.
We have done a lot of transition planning, given the realities of the estate tax and having to plan for that. Like all ranchers, we have a land base, cattle base here, but as far as capital, our outfit would never been able to withstand an estate tax. So we've done extensive planning with the generations to handle that. Part of that has been an understanding that the assets, if the ranch is going to continue, need to make a plan for them to go to the people that are on the ranch. Our role is to really support those family members that are ranching, and that has been successful through 3 generations so far.
Policy work, educational outreach, and promotion all play a role in the success of the beef industry. Philip says each of these areas are critical for NCBA to work in to correct consumer misconceptions about beef production and to fight against regulatory overreach.
We're constantly challenged by government regulations, and we talk a lot about that. We need to have our voice out there to explain what we do on our ranches. Those of us in production agriculture are a minority of the population now, and there are so many people involved at the government level, and we need to explain what we do and make those regulations work for us. I think one of the big challenges we have is to understand and communicate with those who are critical of the beef cattle industry and agricultural in general, whether it's those that are critical in the policy process or those that are critical in our markets and in the foods and retail sector. If we can understand them and communicate our product, the value of our product, the healthiness of the beef product, and the good work that we do out here on our ranches.
As Philip Ellis takes the reins as president of NCBA, he notes global trade is also an area of focus. He believes beef is the best protein not only for Americans, but for consumers worldwide.
96% of our population live outside the U.S., and as their protein needs grow, we want to be there to supply them and actually provide us opportunity on our ranches to continue to expand, grow incomes and improve our markets. The demand for our beef is there. We just need to work to provide access, and that's one thing NCBA is working hard and can do for the individual producer. We are deeply involved right now in the trade issue, and we have been for many years, but I look forward to some opportunities that are on the table right now to expand that. And I am passionate about beef being the best protein that we can supply, not only here domestically, but globally. I talk often about the rightness of our industry, and I think we are right. We have the best protein, and we have a protein that we raise in a renewable manner. That's the best thing that can happen to this grasslands here on my ranch, is for cattle to graze that grass. And while we're doing that, we're providing protein to the world.
And joining us now is the man who will serve this year as president of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, Philip Ellis of Wyoming. Philip, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kevin. Great to be here.
We've just looked at a wonderful video of your ranching operation there in Chugwater. What else can you tell folks about that family operation?
Well, Kevin, it's been a real blessing and privilege for my life to be able to grow up and live on that ranch operation in that valley where my ancestors came 130 years ago, and to be a third generation on that ranch and understand the problems of transitioning and preserving that heritage down through the years and being able to plan for the next generation who is on the ranch and wants to be ranchers. So it's been wonderful.
I would say that's a sustainable operation.
And very sustainable, very sustainable.
Give us your thoughts on the current state of the beef industry.
Well, the beef industry is an exciting place to be. The beef business gets in our blood, and it has been in my families for those generations. But right now we have opportunities, we have markets, we have demand for beef that make it a very exciting to go forward for those next generations coming behind us, my kids, my grandkids. So the beef business is exciting, and I look forward to all the opportunities that I'll have in this next year to take that message out there and to remove any obstacles that will be in the way for our success in the beef business.
As you take the reins as president, what are going to be some of your key priorities for the upcoming year?
Well, one priority I think is in building that demand, and I look at it in two different ways. One is the marketing part, our research, our promotion, and marketing to our millennial consumer. These are my children, and to make sure that they understand the power of the protein of beef, and that they will choose that for their dining, for their center of the plate. So we're looking hard at understanding what their concerns are and what obstacles they might have in the way of buying beef. And the other is to, in that same line, is trade is just one of the several big issues on the policy side that we can move our industry forward for the next generation and open up the trade and the access to trade around the globe.
Exports are critically important. And what message might you have for all the attendees here at the NCBA convention?
The message I have is that that we are right. Beef is right. It's the right product for people, the protein, the nutrition, and the taste. And we are right people to be out on the ranches managing the ranch land and the farmland. It is the right thing for the land, and it's the right thing for our families to be feeding the right product to families around the globe.
And it's the right time to be in the cattle business.
And the right time to be in the cattle business, a good time to be in the cattle business.
Thank you, Philip. To join Philip as a member of the nation's largest cattle industry organization, just visit the website beefusa.org or call 1-866-USA-BEEF. Still to come on Cattleman to Cattleman, we'll have the latest from our good friend Baxter Black. Plus, a closer look at how stocker operators work to keep their animals healthy. Don't go away. We'll have more from San Antonio right after this.
We stand for what we believe in. We believe in you. It's more than a job. It's your way of life. Who you are, where you live, and what you do. The way you treat your cattle, your family, your employees, and your neighbors. The water you drink, the air you breathe, and the ground you walk on. What you do every day gives families something to gather around every night. It's about doing what's right for your cattle, your land, your community, and your business. It's your livelihood, and it means as much to us as it does to you. We all believe in responsible beef. Let's stand together at responsiblebeef.com.
Don't miss the 2015 NCBA Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. It's your opportunity to meet with key congressional and federal agency influencers and to let them know where cattlemen and women stand on critical issues that impact the cattle business and our way of life. Make plans to be in Washington, D.C. March 24th to the 26th for the 2015 NCBA Legislative Conference. Together, we can do more. Details at beefusa.org.
Welcome back. Building a stocker operation from the ground up takes hard work and commitment. And to add value to calves, it takes know-how and a partner willing to help you address regular animal health issues in a proactive manner. In this case, Florida cattleman Rusty White found that partner in Merck Animal Health, whose veterinarians play an important part of his animal health team. For more on this story, let's head to Center Hill, Florida, with Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Matt Fleck.
Cattle from the southeastern United States are in high demand these days. As prices climb, the cattlemen and women who make their living backgrounding calves are seeing opportunity like never before. However, the challenge of building healthy, uniform lots of cattle for feeding is as great today as it ever was in the past.
When we started this, it was just me and my youngest son and my wife doing it right there on 15 acres. It's nice to be able to do it with your family all the time, instead of having to get up and go to a 9-to-5 job. My wife works in town. She says that's the reason why I'm allowed to do what I do. Taking care and building something that I can pass on. Who else wouldn't want to be out here? This is my office. Me and my brother grew up doing it. We enjoy it. We love riding horses. It's not a living, it's a way of life.
Backgrounders play a crucial role in the cattle industry, preparing calves for the feed yard where health and performance are important to maximizing profitability. So, delivering high-quality cattle is the goal of cattlemen like Rusty, who has built a reputation for turning high-risk cattle into cattle that will perform on feed.
We get a lot of cattle through the sales. When the cow-calf producer gets ready to get rid of his calves, they wean them. They send them either to a sale or to an outfit like us. We're a preconditioning lot. We get them all their vaccines through them, get their immunities built up, get them used to eating out of feed troughs and water troughs, get them ready for the feed yards. When the cattle come into us, they're stressed out. We put them in a pen, we give them an ID tag and let them rest for 2 or 3 days. After the 3rd or 4th day, we'll get them up and we start our vaccine program. We use an intranasal. It's once PMH from Merck. It plays a big role.
Bovine respiratory disease is perhaps the single most significant animal health concern faced by backgrounding operators like Rusty. BRD costs the industry an estimated $800 million each year. To minimize the impact of the disease, an effective vaccination program using products which get to work quickly with minimal stress is essential.
The vaccination program is vital because what we're trying to do is actually prevent respiratory disease. If you're on a stocker operation, what you're trying to do is prevent the spread, because a lot of these cattle have already been exposed, but what we're trying to do is get immunity to these cattle as quickly as we can to help stop the spread of the respiratory disease going on. Well, you should do the viruses, the IBR, the BVD1 and 2, the BRSV, and the parainfluenza. But you should also do the Mannheimia hemolytica and the Pastorella. In layman terms, it would be the virals plus the Pastorellas. And you actually need both Pastorellas, not just the Mannheimia hemolytica, but you need the Pastorella multocida too, because it's probably, in the stocker business, it's probably about the 2nd most diagnosed pathogen that we find on necropsies.
Vaccine plays a big role in it. They're preventatives. They build the immune systems. They give the calf an extra little boost on the viruses and everything that we are battling. Me and several different veterinarians has talked about it. If we could get everybody to get on a good vac program, that would make my job easier. In Florida, we got a change of weather all the time, and it could be from a 75-degree day to a 105-degree day. It's still a temperature change. It stresses these cattle out. The stress then turns around and turns into upper respiratory and the pneumonia that we're fighting.
In fact, stress can come from a variety of factors, and Rusty says minimizing the amount of stress his calves experience is important when it comes to getting them on to the next segment of the production chain on schedule and on budget.
Everything we deal with is high stress. You got to figure that you take that calf off his mama and you just wrecked his whole world. Send him to a sale barn. He don't know what's going on there. He's running around there for a few minutes and sold, put in another pen. He's snatched out of there and he put on a truck and he's hauled to another barn where he's sorted and hauled to me. And then he's put into a pen, with the group that he come in with. And we don't mess with him for 3 or 4 days. That to let them get something to eat, something to drink, lay down if they want to. The cattle that come in here, they're in little pens and on trucks for 3, 4, 5 days before they get here, so they're tired.
If you're looking to maximize the immune system, the main thing you want to do is get the cattle up, eating and drinking. Okay, so you want to have a calf that's full, that's eating and drinking. Then you want to make sure that that calf is parasite free as possible. Okay, we know that parasites will affect the immune system. They can cause that calf not to be able to respond properly to the viral diseases or viral vaccine. So, in my opinion, you need to get them, first off, they need to be nutritionally sound. And once you get them nutritionally sound, then you need to make sure that they're basically parasite free, and then you can vaccinate.
We'll be right back with more of this story from Florida after this quick break.
Well, I think a rancher has to be a steward of the land. There's nobody else that can take care of land better than a rancher can, because he has to make his living off of it. When we switched over to the Purina products, it was a step in the right direction, and it's really been profitable for us. It just makes that much of a difference.
The difference we see in the cattle is the consistency of their nutrition. They don't go up and down drastically in weight. Every head on this ranch is fed the Purina Superlix 30. If we keep them on that feed, they stay in optimum condition year round.
The cattle hold their condition a lot better all throughout the whole year. the products they're producing are very much in line with what the rancher needs to be using to be profitable in the future. That's the best thing ever happened to us.
It does make a difference that we can see, day in and day out.
To stay up to date on beef industry news and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, check out beefusa.org. You'll find news on both the Federation of State Beef Councils and the work of NCBA on Capitol Hill. Plus, link to NCBA programs like the blog, Beltway Beef, updates on the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, and the latest from NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Connect today at beefusa.org.
Welcome back to this special edition of Cattleman to Cattleman, coming to you from the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show in San Antonio. Let's go back to reporter Matt Fleck in Florida for more on simple preventative steps to keeping stocker animals healthy.
Allowing cattle to rest and rehydrate upon arrival helps improve immune response to vaccines such as Merck's Once PMHIN, helping to keep calves on track during their time in the backgrounding operation. By using low-stress handling techniques and vaccinations which further reduce the amount of stress an animal experiences, cattle are better equipped to handle the experience. That's just one of the ways the use of Once PMHIN helps White achieve his goals.
Once PMHIN has both the Mannheimia hemolytica as well as the Pasteurella multocida. The reason this is such a good vaccine is it goes intranasally. Okay, so it goes to the point of exposure and creates immunity. The intranasal vaccines, what they do is they flood the mucosal surfaces of the nose, and they hit little bitty like toll-like receptors and different receptors in there that signal to the immune system that there's a pathogen going on. And so what they do is they call all the immune system to alert at that particular location. And once that's stimulated, then that goes with a systemic response. Respiratory disease, we need to stay in front of it as much as possible. When you get into BRD wrecks, most of the time we're into those wrecks because those cattle get ahead of us in sickness, and we can't pull them and treat them fast enough. So it's important to monitor those cattle, especially on the stocker operation.
Sickness normally shows itself. We look for healthy cattle. We really do. I know that sounds strange, but we go into a lot and we look at everything. If they're at the bump, they're fine, normally. You watch a calf, if he's laying down, then you go get him up. If he gets up and he stretches, he feels good. You know, it's just like you. You get up in the morning, you stretch and yawn, you feel good, you're ready to go. Same way with a calf. When we start seeing the sickness in a pen, we start riding it out. We're in these cattle every day, sometimes 2 and 3 times a day. Whether it be in a vehicle, one of the guys that's feeding, he's looking at them too, and I've got 2 or 3 riders. When we see something, an outbreak, we'll pull whatever it is, put it in a lane, we drive it to the pens. You got to handle them real slow and easy.
Minimizing stress and Rusty's other efforts to build his backgrounding operation have paid off, and he has customers across the feeding sector calling to buy his calves.
We don't put anything sick on a truck. If I can't get it straightened out here, putting him on a truck and then sending him 1,000 miles ain't gonna cure no miracles. You know, it ain't gonna fix him. When they hit the ground out there, they're ready to do their work.
The result of Rusty's hard work is a thriving operation that he hopes will one day be passed on to his son Ethan, who looks to play an important role in the future of the enterprise.
Ethan's 14. He's been going with me horseback riding, working cattle, day working in the pens since he was old enough to walk. I can remember toting diapers in a saddlebag on one side and a bottle in the other. There's a lot of times I'd rather have him than some of the grown men that I've worked with. He's good. He's real good.
Reporting from Florida, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
For more information about Once PMHIN or any of the products from Merck Animal Health, just visit their website. That's MerckAnimalHealthUSA.com. We're here with another trade show spotlight, and with me is Randall Tosh with SmartVet. Randall, tell us a little bit about the gun you're holding.
The Vet Gun, Kevin, is a unique, novel delivery device to empower cattle producers to do the right thing for their cattle at the time of year when they see those cattle suffering under hornfly and other parasite burdens. We've designed this to be convenient and easy to use, and really to make cattle producers have an opportunity to go out and do what they need to do at the right time of year.
And you mentioned the convenience. What are some of the benefits of this approach to fly control?
Well, taking the Vet Gun out to where your cattle are at pasture allows you to easily dose up to 100 head of cattle in about an hour's time. Obviously, when you become a good shot, you can maybe do even more faster. But it's for cattle producers who no longer want to round cattle up, especially in the heat of summer. It stresses those animals, and then when they get cattle into a corral or a head gate, everybody knows that that's dangerous for both the animals and the people who are applying either ear tags or pour-on. We know that's going to still happen at the start of the year, but when it's not convenient or easy to do that, when it's labor intensive, we want to give producers a way to go out in the pasture and treat cattle effectively and stress-free.
So you've mentioned some of the differences, but summarize for our viewers, what are some of the key differences between this type of fly control and a pour-on or tags or other alternatives?
Well, pour-on and tags certainly have their place. Early in the season when it's easy to do that before cattle are turned out, that's great. But what happens when those tags and pour-on are no longer effective? Well, the Vet Gun lets you go out and do something about that hornfly burden, because every producer knows that hornflies are a costly pest. We look at what USDA says now about hornflies costing productivity in excess of $1 billion a year in the U.S., and that's significant. It's just not ever been easy for producers to really do something about that at the right time. So now there's a way to do that, and it does actually flow right to the bottom line. I mean, when you think about the 25 to 40 blood meals a day that hornflies are taking, I mean, that's significant in terms of loss of weight gain. And so we look at it, and we've done a kind of an economic formula, and with cattle prices what they are now, use of the Vet Gun and a 1 or 2 dose treatment could save potentially up to $60 in productivity gains on one animal.
That's absolutely amazing. And you were talking just before the interview here that you've got some really good feedback from some satisfied customers. Would you mind sharing that a little bit?
Well, Kevin, last year we sold the Vet Gun for the first time in the U.S. Across 48 states. And of course, people are invited to send in a warranty registration card because we want to look after our customers. And so we sent out a survey to 500 of those customers, just chosen randomly. We got 400 responses back in just a matter of a couple days. And when everyone had responded, we added up what their comments were, and 94% said they would recommend the Vet Gun to a friend. 99% mentioned the Vet Gun specifically as being one of the most convenient devices they've ever used for animal health.
That's amazing. And where can people go to learn more about the Vet Gun?
Well, they can certainly go to agrilabs.com. As our distributor, AgriLabs has on their website a list of all of the places where the Vet Gun and the Amel vet caps can be purchased at retail. And if they're interested in more information about us as a company or about the technology behind our product and what we're doing in the way of continued development of new innovative products for the Vet Gun technology platform, they can go to smartvet.com.
And do you have a minute to just go over there and show us how this Vet Gun works?
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Let's go.
Okay.
So Randall, let's see how this works.
Kevin, I'm glad to show you the Vet Gun and how producers should use it effectively in dosing their animals. Starting with about a distance of 15 to 30 feet from the animals, we recommend that the producer dry fire the gun 2 or 3 times just to acclimate their cattle to the sound of it. And then ideally drop some cake or hay or cube or something just to distract them during the treatment process. And from that distance of about 15 to 30 feet, which really does provide accurate dosing, we want this capsule placed in the shoulder region of the animal, right there where that hornfly burden sits, and you'll get immediate knockdown. And the cattle get immediate relief from the fly burden.
Let's take a look. Outstanding. Very convenient. Thank you so much for that demonstration.
My pleasure.
And we'll be back right after this.
New Holland is the undisputed leader in hay tools. We give farmers a wide range of innovative equipment that increases efficiency and productivity all year round. Because to us, smart means providing a smooth, clean cut with faster dry down, plug-free conditioning, and superior bale density. And smart means leaving less hay on the field to feed more livestock in less time. That's New Holland Smart. Visit your local New Holland dealer today.
It's the official monthly publication of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. The National Cattleman is produced exclusively for NCBA members and includes coverage of the news and events affecting our industry. Every issue includes market analysis, feature stories, and practical management tips. Start receiving your copy of The National Cattleman. Call 866-USA-BEEF or go online to beefusa.org and join today.
I'm an NCBA member because NCBA, they look at the facts, they look at the history, and they look what's good for the industry.
It's important to be NCBA members just because of what NCBA does. They keep us informed about a lot of things that are going on nationwide.
The reason we're an NCBA member is we think that it's the best voice that the cattle people have.
Join NCBA today. Head to beefusa.org or call 866-USA-BEEF.
Welcome back to this special edition of Cattleman to Cattleman, coming to you from San Antonio. It's time now to bring you our trade show spotlight.
We're here with another trade show spotlight for you coming from San Antonio, and we've got Steve with Yamaha with us to visit with us. Steve, I know that Yamaha is a proud supporter of the agriculture industry. Tell us about that commitment.
Well, it starts with our vehicles and trying to design the type of vehicle or off-road product that they need in the field to get the job done, stay productive. But we do a lot more than that. We're a partner of FFA. And in doing that, we try and get the kids early in the safety messaging, as well as kind of build some brand loyalty for Yamaha and let them know that we're in support of their lifestyle. We're a proud partner of the Ag Communicators of Tomorrow, kind of the same thing, to kind of get those safe, responsible use of off-road products in the field. Be productive, but be safe about how you do that, and have those kids that are learning to be communicators in the future have those messages at the core when they go forward and they start reporting about things like Yamaha vehicles. Hi, I'm Steve Nessel with Yamaha. We're here to talk a little bit today about our all-new Yamaha Viking utility vehicle. It is the industry's only true 3-passenger side-by-side utility vehicle with true seating for 3 people inside the cabin. As you can see, we've got a pass-through cabin design, but a bucket seat for every passenger if they're in. They have a seat belt for everybody, and then for the handhold for the middle passenger and the passenger on the far right if they needed. The designers even went as far as to take this middle seat and actually recess it back about 5 degrees so that the shoulders of 3 big guys, if you get them in here, aren't butting up right next to each other. It's got 4-wheel drive on command by the driver, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or diff lock. You drive it much like you would your truck. You basically put it in gear. You've got a gas pedal and a brake pedal down here. Again, the cabin's designed for comfort. The vehicle's designed for off-road capability and superior usefulness as a tool in the field. You can find some of that out back in the form of this cargo bed. 600 pounds, gas assist tilt with a tailgate. You can take 3 people, but then all the gear you need to get into the field. And if you have tight, rugged terrain, the suspension down low underneath this vehicle will take you out there, and can even take a trailer thanks to the 2-inch receiver hitch that is offered. You can take the hitch right off your truck and then put it on the Viking, pull the trailer, pull your gear, pull yourself and 2 other people. Off-road capability, superior utility and comfort. It's really what the Viking's all about. We found that the beef producers, ranchers, farmers, everybody in an ag environment, it loves it from a scouting perspective, doctor animals, mend fences. You make it out to be what you want to be. Again, maybe you use it instead of your truck. You beat on a $15,000 vehicle instead of your $80,000 truck. We've got a lot of people coming to the Viking and loving just how durable and reliable it can be for them.
Thanks for that report. Still ahead, we'll check in with our good friend Baxter Black. So stay with us.
Don't miss the 2015 NCBA Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. It's your opportunity to meet with key congressional and federal agency influencers and to let them know where cattlemen and women stand on critical issues that impact the cattle business and our way of life. Make plans to be in Washington, D.C. March 24th to the 26th for the 2015 NCBA Legislative Conference. Together, we can do more. Details at beefusa.org. Saddle up and make your way to Denver, Colorado for the 2015 Cattle Industry Summer Conference. This is your chance to meet with industry leadership and your fellow cattlemen and women to stay up to date on beef industry trends and policies. Registered attendees will also have access to hot topics at the Issues Forums. Mark your calendar for the 2015 Cattle Industry Summer Conference, July 15th through 18th in Denver, Colorado. Find out more at beefusa.org.
I'm an NCBA member because NCBA, they look at the facts, they look at the history, and they look what's good for the industry.
It's important to be NCBA members just because of what NCBA does. They keep us informed about a lot of things that are going on nationwide.
The reason we're an NCBA member is we think that it's the best voice that the cattle people have.
Join NCBA today. Head to beefusa.org or call 866-USA-BEEF.
Working your cattle just got easier. Introducing the new Vet Gun delivery system, a new way to apply topical insecticides to your cattle. The Vet Gun lets you remotely treat cattle with effective parasite control, so you can do it from an ATV, on horseback, or just walking among the herd. It's that simple. The proven topical insecticide AML Vet Cap is used with the Vet Gun. It works fast to control horn flies and lice while minimizing stress on your cattle. Fast, easy, effective. Vet Gun. Check with your animal health supplier for availability.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
I got a card from a woman veterinarian who had married a cowboy. Now, I have discussed lady vets marrying cowboys. I point out that it's the perfect match. While she's out earning their daily bread, he feeds her horses and cleans her stalls and drinks beer and team ropes every afternoon with his buddies. Brenda explained her case. Her rancher/cowboy/husband's expectations upon marriage were dashed. She has a busy practice. She gets home after a day's work, and he's been plotting all day the veterinary services he needs on his own stock. "Honey," he said, "one of our cows doesn't seem right. She's honking like a goose, her eyes are bugging out, and she just stands there around the water trough." "Oh, she'll be fine," she said. "She's probably just got an allergy. I've got another call in Berlin in 30 minutes, and I haven't got time to talk now." "But, sweetie, my good roping horse is off his feed, and he's favoring his left leg, and I take my Dallies. You could..." "George, I have to take little George to the dentist, and then to soccer, maybe tomorrow, or the next." "Yeah, but even the puppy needs his shots." Brenda says his stuff always comes last. Plus, his help is regularly enlisted on house calls, where hubby winds up having to restrain, or rope, or capture, or hold up, or hold down, wrestle, or twitch all manner of uncooperative beasts, from little girls' backyard horses to llama wrangling. Ah, the life of a veterinarian's husband isn't all just peaches and cream. He often has to fix his own dinner, which he really doesn't mind, but each day he approaches the refrigerator with trepidation, since that evening when he thawed out a piece of steak and fried it for himself. She'd told him not to wait for her because she'd be late. Next morning, she was hunting through the freezer for a sample she had labeled possible tissue damage from Hypoderma lineatum. Send to the lab. "Honey," she said, "did you see a..." And then she glimpsed in the trash can and saw writing on a big baggie. "What?" he asked. "Oh, nothing," she said. "I'm pretty sure it was just a necrotizing cattle grub anyway." This is Baxter Black and Puppy from out there.
It's always good to hear from the cowboy poet Baxter Black. Don't go away. We'll be back with more from San Antonio right after this. Stay with us.
Hi there, I'm Joey.
And I'm Rory, and welcome to our farm outside Nashville, Tennessee. When we go to work, whether it's on tour or here at home, we wear the West.
That's right. Where it's that perfect snap shirt or that perfect pair of boots. When you wear Roper, you wear the West.
Learn more about us, Joey and Rory, and about Roper Western Wear at eroper.com.
Telling the truth and being real and feeding my family a home-cooked meal, that's important to me. That's important to me. And planting the garden and watching it grow.
Hello, I'm Kevin Ochsner, host of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Each week, we travel the country to bring you the latest cattle industry news and information. Check us out at cattlemantocattleman.org or on Facebook and Twitter.
Want to help elect officials who understand the needs of the cattle industry? Then visit beefusa.org and check out the NCBA Political Action Committee online auction page. There, NCBA members can view and bid on a wide variety of exciting travel and merchandise, and the funds go to support NCBA's work in Washington, D.C. You must be a member to contribute to NCBA PAC, so don't wait. Join today.
Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.